What happens when one of Hollywood's most beloved icons walks onto a talk show and everything goes completely sideways? The Graham Norton Show has seen its fair share of unforgettable moments. But nothing could have prepared the audience for what unfolded when Julie Andrews made her appearance. Before we get into the chaos that erupted on that stage, make sure you hit that subscribe button and drop a comment below telling us what you think really went down. Now let's dive into the most shocking talk show moment of the year. The studio lights were bright as ever, the familiar buzz of anticipation rippling through the audience. Graham Norton stood center stage, relaxed and confident, feeding off the crowd with his trademark charm. When he announced his next guest, the applause was immediate and thunderous. Julie Andrews stepped onto the stage with the same graceful composure that had defined her for decades. She smiled warmly, waved to the crowd, and took her place in the red chair, smoothing her dress as she settled in. At first, everything went exactly as expected. Graham praised her legendary career, mentioning Mary Poppins and The Sound of Music, and Julie responded with gentle humor and fond memories. The audience laughed, relaxed, and leaned in. It felt like a celebration of Hollywood royalty, the kind of segment viewers tuned in for. But then Graham shifted the conversation. With a casual tone, he asked how Julie felt about the growing trend of remakes and reboots in modern cinema. It sounded harmless, almost predictable, yet something changed. Julie's smile tightened just slightly, her eyes sharpening as she considered her response. "Well, Graham," she said calmly, "I think there's something to be said for leaving certain stories in their original form. Not everything needs to be reimagined for a new generation. Some things are perfect as they are." There was a polite ripple of applause, but the energy in the room shifted. Graham sensed it and pressed gently, suggesting that modern reinterpretations were a compliment to her legacy. Julie tilted her head, her voice still controlled but noticeably firmer. "There's a difference between inspiration and appropriation," she replied, "and a difference between honoring something and repackaging it because you've run out of original ideas." The laughter stopped. Graham raised his eyebrows, half smiling, and asked whether she believed modern filmmakers lacked authenticity. Julie leaned back, crossing her legs with deliberate precision. "I'm saying that when we made films, we understood responsibility," she said. "We weren't chasing viral moments. We were creating work meant to last." The audience fell quiet. Graham's tone cooled as he countered, suggesting that artistry simply looked different in the digital age. That's when Julie leaned forward, her posture shifting from relaxed to resolute. "Not all evolution is progress," she said, "and pretending it is doesn't make it true." At that, Graham shifted slightly in his chair, clearly aware that the conversation had taken an unexpected turn. Still, he pushed forward, attempting to regain control with his trademark composure. He suggested that the industry had become more inclusive, more open to different voices and backgrounds, and that surely this was something worth celebrating. For a brief moment, it seemed like Julie might soften. Instead, she let out a short, humorless laugh. "Inclusive," she repeated. "Let me tell you about inclusion. I worked with performers who trained for years, who understood discipline, character, and craft. Today, we have people becoming famous for dancing in 15-second videos, and somehow that qualifies them to star in major films. That's not inclusion. That's a lowering of standards." A hush fell over the studio. The audience, once lively and reactive, now sat frozen. Graham's smile tightened as he responded, pointing out that many modern performers came from unconventional paths and still brought genuine talent to their work. Julie waved a hand dismissively. "When I started, you paid your dues," she said. "You studied. You failed. You improved. You didn't wake up famous because you had a clever username. The problem isn't accessibility. It's that talent has become optional." Graham's tone sharpened. He reminded her that he'd interviewed countless artists from diverse backgrounds and witnessed extraordinary ability from people who didn't follow traditional routes. He asked whether she truly believed only her path was valid. Julie met his gaze without hesitation. "I believe standards matter," she said. "When you water everything down so no one feels excluded, you don't get excellence. You get mediocrity." The tension was now unmistakable. Graham leaned forward, challenging her implication that modern creators lacked integrity. Julie's reply landed like a slap. "People who lack conviction chase whatever is popular," she said. "And yes, That includes shows that prioritize viral moments over meaningful conversation. A collective gasp rippled through the audience. Graham's expression hardened. He pointed out that she was sitting on his show, benefiting from the very platform she was criticizing. Julie remained unflinching. "I'm here because my publicist insisted," she said coolly. "But let's not pretend this is about depth. You provoke, clip the sound bites, and move on. It's entertainment for people who don't want to think too hard." The room felt smaller, heavier. Graham asked why she'd agreed to appear at all if she felt such disdain. Julie smoothed her dress, the gesture now more armor than elegance. "Because I wanted to see if I was right," she said. "And so far, you're proving my point." Graham shook his head, accusing her of dismissing an entire generation of artists. Julie responded calmly, almost coldly. "It's not arrogance," she said. "It's observation. The industry has changed, and not for the better." At that moment, Graham's standing changed everything. The casual atmosphere that usually defined the show vanished in an instant. His voice was firmer now, edged with frustration as he argued that audiences themselves had changed, that people connected deeply with modern stories in ways that couldn't be dismissed as shallow. Julie remained seated, looking up at him with an expression that bordered on pity. "Sitting down doesn't make you right," she said evenly. "And standing up doesn't make you intimidating. The truth is uncomfortable, Graham, but someone has to say it. The industry is drowning in content and starving for quality." Graham fired back, defending the films and shows watched by millions every day. He insisted that popularity didn't automatically mean emptiness. Julie finally stood, facing him across the small table between them. "I never said it was worthless," she replied. "I said it was mediocre. There's a difference. People eat fast food every day too, but that doesn't make it nutritious." The other guests sat in stunned silence. One young actor, there to promote a streaming series, shifted uncomfortably. Graham noticed and turned toward him, inviting his perspective. The actor spoke carefully, expressing deep respect for Julie, while arguing that different eras required different approaches. Julie's gaze snapped to him, sharp and unyielding. "You became famous playing a superhero," she said. 90% of that performance was computer-generated. What exactly did you bring that couldn't have been achieved with someone else? And enough special effects." The actor tried to defend himself, mentioning physical training and emotional depth. Julie laughed, cold and dismissive. "Your stunt doubles handled the physicality," she said. "And the character had 3 emotions. I'm not being cruel. I'm illustrating a point. You are the symptom." Graham stepped between them, his voice raised. He told Julie she was out of line, that attacking another guest was unacceptable. Julie's composure cracked just slightly. "You want to know what's hurtful?" She shot back. "Watching an industry I devoted my life to become a factory for forgettable garbage." Graham's hands shook as he accused her of arrogance, of believing she alone had the right to judge others. Julie's response was immediate. 6 decades of excellence gives me that right," she said. "Work that people still cherish half a century later gives me that right." The audience was visibly shaken now. Some covered their mouths. Others ignored the rules and raised their phones. Graham pointed toward the wings. "This interview is over," he said. "I think it's time for you to leave." Julie didn't move. "Of course it is," she said. "When someone speaks an uncomfortable truth, you shut them down." Graham's voice dropped, dangerous and controlled. He repeated the order. Slowly, Julie picked up her purse. "I've said what I came to say," she told the room. "Whether you listen is up to you." As she turned, Julie's heels clicked sharply against the studio floor as she moved toward the edge of the stage. But Graham wasn't finished. He called out, accusing her of being consumed by her own legacy, of clinging so tightly to the past that she couldn't see what the industry had become. Julie turned slowly, her expression no longer amused or restrained. "You've built a career encouraging celebrities to embarrass themselves for ratings," she said. "At least I built mine on craft." Graham stepped closer, his voice trembling with anger. He insisted that his show celebrated people, that it gave artists space to be themselves. Julie's response was ice cold. "Someone has to maintain standards," she said. "If we applaud everything equally, excellence disappears." The young actor spoke up again, accusing Julie of bitterness, of being threatened by a world that no longer revolved around her definition of success. Julie whirled on him, her disappointment cutting deeper than anger. I'm not bitter, she said. I'm disappointed. You were handed a franchise because you fit a demographic. That's not a journey. That's a lottery ticket. The actor stood, furious, defending his struggle and effort. Julie raised an eyebrow. You were discovered online, she said. One audition. Instant fame. That isn't paying dues. Graham moved between them once more, his patience gone. He threatened to call security. Julie looked at him with something close to pity. There it is, she said. When you can't win an argument, you remove the person speaking. Another guest, a comedian, attempted to intervene, suggesting that standards evolve with culture. Julie turned her gaze on her. Shock value isn't wit, she said. Marketability isn't talent. The room was suffocating now. Graham accused Julie of wanting a sermon, not a conversation. Julie picked up her purse again. I won't apologize for expecting excellence, she said. If that makes me unpopular, so be it. She walked toward the exit. Graham called after her, accusing her of stubbornness, of refusing to move forward. Julie stopped at the edge of the stage one final time. And you, she said calmly, are so desperate to be liked that you've forgotten discernment is allowed. The two locked eyes. The audience didn't breathe. Then Julie turned and walked off the stage for good. Graham stood frozen before addressing the camera, apologizing to viewers and guests alike. The joy that usually filled the studio was gone, replaced by discomfort and disbelief. When the show cut to commercial, no one moved. So there you have it. One of the most explosive moments in talk show history. A collision between old Hollywood and new, between tradition and evolution, between two people who could not find common ground. What do you think? Was Julie Andrews right to call out the industry? Or was Graham Norton right to defend it? Drop a comment below and let us know.